This is a Willets Point Shea Stadium bound 7 express train. The next and last stop is Willets Point, Shea Stadium.
We did the bullpen outlook. Let's take a look at the bench there. The locks for me, Omar Narvaez, unless he gets traded, then I guess Tomas Nido would be the catcher. Joey Wendell, Tyrone Taylor. And then, I have DJ Stewart, Vientos, and Beatty on the bubble if they're not playing well. Trace Thompson, we mentioned, Jose Iglesias. If DJ Stewart doesn't play well, or Vientos, G-Man Choi or Luke Voigt could be a guy that takes that spot. You also have Ben Gamel and Rylan Bannon, who was mentioned earlier on in the chat by, I think it was, let me see who mentioned that in the chat. Duran Rivera had mentioned Rylan Bannon in there. Also, Zach Short as well. He's another defensive infielder that can make it as well. So, how do you round out this bench, with you definitely have to have a backup catcher. You have to have a backup infielder, and then one at least, outfield, fourth outfielder. Who do you round it out with? Is it 2 outfielders with Trace Thompson and then another infielder? Is it just a 4-man bench? Where do you go from here?
It's hard because, like, when you're looking at the 6-man rotation, you have like an extra guy in that rotation, so you're kind of like fixing it up a little bit. You might have to go with a 4-man bench, and I think that they are definitely fit for a 4-man bench because they have a lot of positional flexibility as compared to it. So I'd say that G-Man Choi is definitely up there as a possibility, but it's hard to see Vientos up here with Choi. With the possibility of, like, DJ Stewart, you can actually be a little bit more flexible because he can play the outfield. So it's weird because I don't know how they want to configure it, because, like, obviously you have your locks in Narvaez. He's going to be here. He's getting paid whatever for the rest of the year. And then I think Tyrone Taylor is a lock so far. I mean, he's just as what he was as advertised in this trade so far. It's hard to round this thing out because I don't know. There's different combinations they could go with. Whether they want a DH platoon to kind of insurance Vientos, but it's hard to do that with the leading man in G-Man Choi, who's been hitting so well so far, because he's not great against lefties, like, at all. But I think that I don't think that if you're going to commit to Vientos, you can't have him platoon. Like, you have to just give him the at-bats every single day to see if you get something from him. So it's hard to put Choi and Voigt into that equation of them being on the opening day roster as well as Mark Vientos. Like, I think you just can only have one DH there. Like, I'm personally tired of the I don't want to see another rough Vogelbach situation. Like, I don't want to see that again.
Totally agree. The DH position, I think, belongs to one very good power hitter. Like, David Ortiz was the DH of the Boston Red Sox. JD Martinez was the DH of the Dodgers and Detroit and Boston. I'm tired of the platoon DH. It's not working. It's just not.
Yeah, it has not worked. And even though you could do platoon combinations with Stewart and Voigt, or Voigt and G-Man Choi, or Vientos and one, like, you could do that because you have 2 lefties and 2 righties, but I don't want to see 2 of them on the. If you're going to make a commitment to one of them, make a commitment to one. I like the hitting profiles of all 4 of these guys. Like, I think that they all, like, at their best, they could give you DH production, but I don't want to see 2 of them on there. 2 of them, just because I don't know if it's a PTSD thing of what we saw with the DH platoon or whatever, and not giving it to just one guy being the DH. And that's the main reason why, as to, like, I think that, the JD Martinez talk, like, that's just gone out the window at this point. Like, I think that this, like, one of these 4 guys is going to be your DH, depending on how they do in spring. I hope that that's how they address that, because the DH has been just such a, like, just a nightmare since they put this in for the Mets. And as compared to, as compared to anything that's, that's been going on with Vientos, or what's been going on with G-Man Choi or DJ Stewart. Or, like, I'm okay with the hitting profiles of all four of these guys. Like, I'm okay with it. In a pinch, they could produce for you. It all really just depends on, because that's kind of how it is with all four of them. They're streaky. It all depends on who is hot, and that's how they really have to go on with it. It's hard to catch lightning in a bottle with this type of thing. Like, it's easier to just go out and sign the guy, but it's like, when you look at it right now, Vientos, he's got the upside. He's young. Then you have Voit, who can give you a little bit of extra power when he's hot and seeing the ball well. Choi, a little bit more of a seasoned hitter. And then also DJ Stewart, who had the big stretch. Again, decent profile or whatever, but there's nothing like consistency you can go off of. Like, there's just nothing there. But, you know, he could be good. Like, all of these guys could be good. You just have to see it and see who produces in that way. So I'm okay with, like, any of them, but I just don't want two of them there because I want the bench to have a little bit more versatility, especially in terms of the outfield. I need two outfielders on that bench, in my opinion. Like, I need that with the concern that you have going on with Marte's health, with Bader's health. Again, like I said, even Nimmo, even though he's had health issues in the past, he's going into his 30s, so you always have that precaution. And I think that's how they kind of have to look at it, where, you know, you have two outfielders on the bench. You have Joey Wendell, who I guess is your backup infielder or whatever. And then you also have some DH options who, you know, could play the infield and the outfield if you have them here. So that's kind of an extra there in the starting lineup. I think that's kind of how they have to look at it, because I don't want two DHs on my roster at the same time. And even though Vientos can play a position, he doesn't play it well enough for me to establish, he's going to be my backup third baseman. He is going to be my first baseman if Pete Alonso needs a day off and DH. Like, you can't be doing that. Like, it just can't, like, especially if you're going to harbor a 6-man rotation, what they need to do to keep everybody healthy with the rotation they have right now, and also with the bullpen and everything. They can't really do a 5-man bench. They can't really afford to do that unless they want a shorthanded bullpen. A 4-man bench right now is all they can muster, but they need versatility in that bench to provide some value. It can't just be two DHs on the roster. It just can't happen.